Hello, it is March 1st, and we are back trying to start this month a little better than we did last month. I was doing writing sprints on the channel last month, and I couldn't tell you. Hold on, sorry, I'm echoing. I couldn't tell you exactly which date I kind of gave up on it. Let's see. I can probably find out real quick. Yeah, February 3rd. Literally been like an entire month. I got really sick kind of directly after that. Just a couple, like I was doing a fundraiser, and then Valentine's Day I got really sick, and then I didn't quite recover until like last Thursday. Fevers, all that fun stuff. It's, super fun. February was just trash, and work got really bad and really annoying. And in fact, it's not done being annoying yet. But that's a whole other conversation that I can't have on public situations. That has to be behind a paywall where administrators can't accidentally find me unless they're paying for it. And then if you're paying for it, then I have other questions for you. Anyway, so the plan for today and for March is to dig into Fool Me Twice, my alpha draft. If you did any of the sprints with me last month, you know that I actually did already start it. Except Fool Me Twice is this book that is going to drive me absolutely insane. It's starting to feel like the book that just can't be written. And it's just because it was an ambitious book. Initially in August, I wrote a plot sketch that really seemed to be okay. And then I started writing it and it just wasn't working. I think it's just because I didn't quite know my characters as well as I wanted to. It's been a couple of years since I wrote this timeline. And this timeline is trash because GH has sucked something so bad. It has sucked so bad for the better part of a decade. Like, oh my God, it has been so bad for a really long time. And now, so these characters are just like really hollow. They're all two-dimensional. No, I'm sorry, not even two-dimensional. They're one-dimensional, and some of them don't even have that much dimension. Some of them are just like pretty hair, and some of them are not even good hair. Like, I don't even know what the hell is going on the show anymore. And we're not talking about current General Hospital. I'm just like, even 2018's like characters were just like not great. And I spent a lot of time in book one just maneuvering people where I wanted them. And like everybody's still not quite where they need to be because the show is what's such trash. And it is just hard. The biggest challenge is just the characters. One of the things that the show has done to make it easier for themselves is they just isolate these characters into this little bubble. So you have characters who should be interacting and never do. Like Carly never interacts with anybody other than her children. And when she does, it's just annoying. Elizabeth never interacts with her children in stories where she should be. Like, for example, anything going on with Cameron, Liz is nowhere to be found. And her kids aren't reacting to anything happening in Liz's life. Like, where is Cameron when his mom might go to jail? Like, what is this? What's happening? So the show likes to put them into little bubbles. Me, that doesn't work for me, mostly because it keeps the writing a little dynamic by tossing these characters into scenes with characters that they should have scenes with, but like they haven't in like a decade. So it's been really fun. Like Elizabeth and Michael should be having scenes together. They got very close during the AJ stuff. So, and Michael's very close to Jason. So it just makes sense that Elizabeth is kind of in the middle of that. So Elizabeth and Michael should have some sort of understanding and like knowledge of each other. And it just like the show forgets that at all times. Michael should have opinions on Franco, but after Carly broke up with Franco, it's like Franco ceased to exist for Michael. Like it's a whole thing. So that's kind of been like the really big thing. It's like I have these like really ambitious ideas for the stories and where I want it to go, but it's been really hard navigating like how to things fit things into a timeline, how characters should react to this. So often the first few chapters of any draft feel like I'm still in my discovery phase, and my discovery phase is just where I am like writing about the story, where I am planning the story, where I am kind of figuring out what my characters would do. So I wrote the first 4 or 5 chapters, and it's not that any of that's bad. It's just that it really felt hollow, and like I hadn't really dug into some of the characters, and some things were moving a little faster than they wanted to, and some things weren't moving at all, and it just wasn't working. So I sat down and rethought my timeline for this book and what I wanted to happen in this book. And I spent most of the last week working on that. I had initially planned to take the rest of February off, just kind of like get caught up with stuff at work because I got COVID in January and I never quite caught back up because right after I had COVID, I had an induction ceremony for the National Junior Honor Society, which I do at school. So that took up the greater part of the week. It sucked all my energy out because I didn't really have a lot of energy after COVID. And what was left of it was teaching, work, and all that, and, just keeping myself alive. And then, right after that, I tried to do these sprints and I was working on that, but I was tired all the time because I was still kind of beaten down from COVID. And then I got this infection that I don't know what it was, to be honest. They thought it was strep, that everything came back negative. Wasn't the flu, wasn't COVID again. I just ended up with 103.9 fever, and I was running a fever from pretty much Thursday morning until sometime on Saturday. Saturday is when it finally dipped below 100, but it was still elevated into like 99 until Monday, which for me is pretty bad because I don't run fevers. And it was 103.5. It was over 103 for pretty much all of Friday, and it was kind of freaking me out. Finally dipped to 102 in February, on that late that night. And then Saturday, it went into the 101 range. So like it just took a while to kick it. And then I had to catch up from that because I was sick for 2 weeks and I had grading to do and we had conferences, and it just felt like everything kind of got away from me. So I had given myself permission to kind of just take off the rest of February to get caught up with work, to get caught up with stuff around the house. And something about just giving myself that permission, like giving myself that level of understanding that I was not going to be able to produce anything that I could put out. And I haven't posted flash fiction. I haven't posted Signs of Life. I haven't posted anything whatsoever. The last thing I posted on my site was like February 18th. And that's like almost 2 weeks now we're going into. So that's a really long time for me. And that's fine. I'm okay with it. But I started to kind of just like, let's see what I can do. So I got work under control within about 2 days because I had conferences and I had just 4 hours just to sit in the gym while no parents came, because no parents are talking to their kid's French teacher in middle school. If they're failing my class, they're failing something else, and I am not their first priority, and I'm not even mad about it. It's fine. So I got all of my grading done. I got completely, like, I was 2 weeks behind. I got completely caught up. Now I'm back and caught up. I'm prepped, and like, so everything's back on track with that. So once I got that under control, once work got under control, I actually felt a lot better about digging back into writing. So the first thing I did was Fool Me Twice, because I really wanted to dig into this. I really want to have book 2 out this year. That is my goal. That is my, let's get this done. So I sat down and I think I must have finished it on Saturday or Sunday. I couldn't remember. Can't tell you exactly when I finished it. The new plot sketch is about 8,000 words. It's really in depth. And I'm actually really liking the order of things, the way I'm working with things. Things could still change. Things will move around. But like, I'm really excited by how it works now. And the new stuff for the characters and just like the new ideas. So the plan for tonight is that I'm gonna write the new first chapter. We're gonna launch the first new chapter. That'll be chapter 39. And let me share that screen. I can show it to you guys for just a minute if it's on here. Is it? Yes, it is. So I've been rewatching Grey's Anatomy. I always rewatch Grey's Anatomy when I get sick. I don't know what that is about me. I watched all the way from season 1 to season 7. And then at the end of season 7, I realized the next season was the plane crash and Mark and Lexi are going to die. And I'm not happy about it. And Owen is all that is trash in this world. And George O'Malley is dead. And I'm like more upset about it than I was the first 4 times I watched it. And I just, I was just unhappy with season 7. And then I knew that season 8 was going to make me happier. And then Christina leaves. And why is anybody watching it now when Meredith, it's a whole thing. Anyway. But whenever I rewatch Grey's Anatomy, it always, especially those early years, because the early years were really good. I do a really good job of kind of like balancing some like interesting, like the light and the dark. And it always like fuels my creativity to go back and rewatch these old shows. So I also really love the music. So the first song, the soundtrack, I've changed it, and it's Ready to Rise from Vaughn Penn. And it's actually, that song is in the very first episode of Grey's Anatomy. It's in, it's season 1, episode 1. And, oh wait, where did you go? Why are you like this today? Yeah, so it's just from the first episode. Let's see. So I've got a Jason scene, a Drew scene. I'm really focusing on them. Laura, what I'm doing is, instead of having, I initially had the teens. Where did my screen go? I initially had the teens showing up on at Port Charles High, and Emma and Spencer are already there. But I think it'd be more interesting to show, Spencer being there and Laura being like, "Listen, now that you're home, I know that you're probably ready to get rid of, Valentine and all that." And Emma actually telling Cameron like, "Hey, I'm gonna be here," and Cameron was like, "Well, that's different." Because canonically in the story, Emma and Cameron were dating, and they were little 8th graders. My little 8th graders are so adorable when they date, because they take everything so seriously. And so like when they broke up because of distance, and like they're like this great love story. But now they've been broken up for a good year and What, 2 years? So it's like Patrick would have left December of 2015. Yeah, so it would have been 2 years ago. And so, Cameron's moved on. He's been dating Trina, but like as we saw in book 1, Cameron and Trina have some issues because Trina does not get the Elizabeth stuff. Like Trina does not really get why Cameron is so willing to sacrifice himself for his mother, which in Cameron's defense is something he comes by naturally because Elizabeth has been doing it and continues to do it. Like, let's not talk about what's happening on the I can't. We're not going to do it. So I thought it'd be more interesting to kind of dial that back and for us to really see that. Let me see what else is in this. So let's see. I want to introduce a new Michael storyline that's going to play into the Susan Moore murder that I set up from last time. And then just kind of like, and set up the Christina storyline. Because so initially in the first round, I wasn't sure what to do with Christina. She was kind of a very minor subplot character last time, where we had Christina find out about Rick and Sam's one night stand, which blew up Christina's entire young life. And remember, the thing is that Christina on the show, when we originally watched it, was young. At that point, she would have been 5 or 6, so she really wouldn't have a memory of it. However, they made the choice to age Christina. So when you age Christina and make her, 20 in 2017? In 2006, she would have been, like, much older. Hell, no, I guess... God, she'd probably be in her early 20s now, I think. No, she'd be like 22. So she would have been like like a teen. So she would actually remember how good life was when her mother and her stepfather were married. And like Rick was canonically a very good stepfather. That's the one thing you can give Rick is that he was always a very good father. And so the idea is now Christina's watching Sam blow up another family where Sam is not only blowing up, the idea of Sam, Drew, and Scout, but also like messing with Sam and Danny. And she's looking at Sam as doing this as Sam's doing the exact same thing that she did to Christina and Molly that she's doing to Scout and Danny. And, Christina's sure that there's a reason for it. So we're going to have Christina kind of going into that, like giving more of the Sam POV out. So there's that. And that's what I'm going to be doing in the first chapter. So the plan for tonight is, let me see if I'm right. Yeah, so it's exactly 6 o'clock. I would like to write at least the first 2 scenes with Jason and Drew. I'm going to be writing for just 1 hour because at 7 o'clock, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go, finish for the night. I'm going to go have my dinner and then go relax. I'd like to finish Sam and Jason and Drew, their initial separate scenes. And then if possible, get to the Spencer scene. So writing between 2 and 3 scenes tonight. We'll see exactly. I'm not really sure. And then I'll come back tomorrow night at 6 and we'll continue. And the goal is the dream really is to write every single night and to give you guys a sprint and then hopefully get in the habit of writing again for a couple hours on weekends. So I am going to set up my Pomodoro. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll share that screen with you guys. All right, I'll share that. Let me get my volume mixer ready. Some more volume settings so that I can put on the sound and then, where are you? There it is. Okay. So I've got that ready. All right. So my Pomodoro is up. We're going to set it for 25 minutes. I'm working on Act 1 of Fool Me Twice, Book 2. All right. I'm going to set this entirely up here. We'll put on the music for a little bit. All right. And I'm going to mute my mic and say goodbye for 25 minutes. I'll see you guys in 25. All right, so we are back. Let me turn back on my light. I finished the Jason scene and most of the Drew scene. Both of the scenes are meant to be a little introspective, to do a little bit of recapping of kind of establishing where both of the brothers are at that point. So they're taking a little longer. And also my keyboard is messing up again. Sometimes the keys stick, and I don't know why, because it's not even a year old. I think it's just a cheap Bluetooth that came with the computer. So I wrote 584 words for Jason, and I'm at 379 for Drew. It's probably going to be another 200. So, you know, a little under 1,000 words for 25 minutes is not bad at all. So we're going to wait for our 4-minute, situation to run out. And then I will start on my second sprint. Right now, we're just going to do 2. I would like to eventually build up to 3. I think that's totally possible. It's just hard because this time of day I am decompressing from work and I have to juggle in dinner, and I do like to really relax at the end of the night. But I have changed my sleeping habits a little bit. I used to wake up at 5:15 so I could be ready to go to work at 6:20 and be at work by 6:35, because 6:35 is when our fobs would turn on. And my report time for work isn't actually until 7:30. But I would go in an hour early so that I could do grading, so that I could make copies, so that I could get everything done. And I did that every day. And every day I would complain about like just being really exhausted, because 5:15 is really early to get up. And then after a situation at work where it became very clear that my sacrifices were not at all appreciated by anybody, super fun that there are people at work that they can just tell somebody else in administration about things that are happening in your room that are not happening in your room, and that nobody even asks you, and that gets taken as gospel. Like, I don't even have filing cabinets. How are the kids sitting on the filing cabinets that don't exist? That's not important. Anyway, like I said, I just kind of became very clear that the only person that was actually being punished by this 5:15 schedule was me. So this week, for the last 3 days, especially this week, I've been really good. I think on Monday, I think I got up around 5:36. Friday, I got up at 5:47. Yesterday, I got out of bed around 5:50. And today, very proud of myself, got out of bed at 6 o'clock. And what turns out that it actually works better. When I was dragging myself out of bed at 5:15, like, I was getting up before I was really ready to, and it was taking longer. Like, I would have a lot more allergy issues for some reason when I was getting up. So like it would take like 20 minutes just to get myself together and into the shower and then out of the shower. And here I am, not only I get my shower done and I am ready to go and get dressed in 10 minutes, and then it takes me about another 10 minutes to do my makeup and my hair. So by 6:20, I am downstairs ready to make breakfast. It takes me 10 minutes to make breakfast, about 5 minutes to eat, and I'm out the door at 6:35, and I'm actually at work at 6:50, 6:55, 7 o'clock, which is only about 20 minutes later than I normally would get there. Extra 45 minutes of sleep, and I'm only 20 minutes later at work. It's like, no, it's just, it makes so much sense. So, there's just no point in dragging myself when it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm not getting any awards. They're not paying me more money to show up early and not get paid for it. So I am really trying to limit the amount of times I work outside of my contract hours. So hopefully, so I'm sleeping better, but I'm not falling asleep as early, so I have a little bit more time at night. So I'm not like going to bed laying down at 8 o'clock anymore. I'm laying down more like 8:30, 9 o'clock, so I can be at bed by 10. So that's actually working a lot better. So all of that is a long story to say that I'm going to be done rating at about 7 o'clock tonight. And then I am going to go down and eat some chili. And then I'm going to take a bubble bath with a book. The Grace Bros book came out last week, and I'm going to read it. Or I'm going to start reading it. Hopefully I don't get stuck. I accidentally read a whole book in the bathtub the other day on Sunday. The new Nora Roberts is coming out on May 23rd, but NetGalley had advanced reading copies up, ARCs, for review. And I was really surprised because the last few Nora Roberts standalones, I haven't really liked. I think the last standalone that she released that I was absolutely like, I loved was, it's an excellent question. I actually couldn't tell you. Because she did night work last year, and I didn't even finish that. Like, I got so bored in the first like 5 chapters. And the year before that, it was Legacy, and that was really boring. I ended up skipping around a lot in that one. So there was that one, and then Undercurrents was okay. I think that was like 2018, but like it really meandered. It was very episodic. And then there was Hideaway before that. That was really kind of like, it was okay. So like I would say it's been about 6 years since I read a Nora Roberts book standalone, like start to finish. Not her trilogies. Her recent trilogy, the Dragonheart trilogy. It was the Dragonheart Legacy. My God, if you have not read that, go get that now. The trilogy is finished. It's spectacular. I just read it and I reread it again after I finished the last book. It's so good. All right. So we are at 25 minutes. I'm gonna go put this screen back up. All right. So obviously we're ready. I'm gonna hit play on my music. I'm gonna mute myself and I'll see you guys in 25 minutes. Boop. Hello. Okay, so we are done. Yay. 2 sprints, 3 scenes written. I ended up writing around 1,900 words. I wrote a Jason scene, a Drew scene, and a Spencer scene. And I'm pretty excited because this is the first time I've really written Spencer. When I wrote book 1, I don't believe... Yeah, Nicholas Chavez had not been cast yet as Spencer, so I had no idea that I would like him. Yeah, I think that I barely had him in the book at all. He was just kind of like there. We reference him. He came home for Christmas. I remember even posting a GIF that that like it's like I just forgot Spencer. I just kept forgetting to put Spencer into things. Like I brought him for Christmas and then forgot to put him in any scenes. And it's like I did that Taylor Swift quote. Like it's not hate, it's not love, it's just indifference. I'm just like I just forgot you existed. And now it's like, no, I actually really like Spencer to the extent that anything is good on that terrible show. It's Spencer and Trina. And that is why you see us in book 1, where I was completely a Katrina fan. Cameron and Trina forever. Woo woo. Now I'm like, no, Spencer and Trina forever. So we're going to spend book 2 building up Spencer and Trina. I think it just makes sense. I mean, I wrote Spencer as being like looking for revenge and wanting, all that stuff. He wasn't in Port Charles at that time. So, yeah. So I finished a Jason scene, a Drew scene, and a Spencer scene. Tomorrow, what I have left is about 3 scenes. No, I have, wait, hold on. I have 5 scenes left. So that could be 2 nights of work, probably. I'll probably finish this chapter on Friday. I'm going to do a Cameron scene, Cameron and Emma, then Sam and Christina, then Drew and Diane, Michael and Ned, and then Jason and Elizabeth. So it just depends on how short or long some of these scenes are. I could finish this whole thing tomorrow, or it could go into Friday. I could start the next chapter on Friday. So, pretty happy for the first day back. I felt really good. Really kind of like these scenes don't feel hollow. I definitely felt like the first draft I was working through felt like I was lurching from plot point to plot point. I was writing scenes because it is what I had plotted, but it didn't necessarily feel organic. So what I have are 2 Jason and Drew scene, both of which are really introspective, where they're just kind of like standing and taking stock of their life. And then I have a really great Spencer and Laura scene where Spencer's like home and Laura's like, you can't let this kind of get to you. Like I know Valentine's walking around all free and whatnot, and they can't have that. Like you can't let this, like, I'm not going to lose one more generation, which is like, if you've read my flash fiction, this is a theme that I go back to a lot, that like Laura has been fighting this Cassadine fight her whole adult life. She was, into the Ice Princess stuff in 1980 when she was barely in her early 20s. She got kidnapped in her early 20s and she's been haunted by it ever since. Elizabeth has been haunted by Cassadines her entire life as well. So it's just like, and like I said, I did this in my flash fiction where Elizabeth and Laura, like, I don't want to see my boys fighting this fight. And unfortunately, we are going to see Spencer and Cameron drawn into this fight by the end of book 2. Spoiler alert, there is definitely going to be some action for them in this arena because Spencer is not going to take it down. Because remember, in this book, Spencer thinks his father is dead, and we're going to know Nicholas is alive, and we're actually going to watch, like, we're going to be in Nicholas's head. Nicholas is going to be in the present. In book 1, he was completely in flashbacks. In fact, if you skip the flashbacks, you might not have known that Nicholas was alive. That's why you don't skip the flashbacks. It's like I wrote them for a reason. So we're going to be doing more with this Nicholas side of things because Nicholas is keeping lots of secrets. Anyway, I am going to sign off. It is 7 o'clock. I'm going to go eat dinner. I'm going to go relax with a book. And then I have to go to work tomorrow and teach the middle schoolers. 7th graders, I think I wrote a couple of weeks ago, were sent here to destroy us because they punch each other like boxers and they giggle like maniacs and they chase each other down. They run down the halls like toddlers. I literally had a child chase another child around the room today in block 4. I'm just like, I remember being in 7th grade. I never chased anybody, even in 8th period when I was like, because 8th period would start at 1:42 and go to like 2:30. Like that was the worst part of my day. And like, no, I never got up in Mr. Gershik's science class and started chasing anybody. And none of the other boys did too either. And the boys were insane. I don't know what it is with 7th graders now. I'm really hoping this is the COVID hump. Where right now we have 7th graders who the year COVID started, they would have been in 4th grade. So life was kind of crazy for them. And like life shut down. And then 5th grade was in hybrid. And then 6th grade, they had COVID restrictions. So we're really just hoping that we'll get over this hump and in a couple of years, the kids will be normal again. It's the only reason why I keep teaching is that promise that one day the COVID will be a memory. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, around 5:45 to 6 o'clock. Bye.